Probably 90% of the time that this car has been in our shop has it been just sitting here while we try to source parts for it, jumping through a bunch of BS to get them. Couldn't even get a basic fuel filter for this thing. I call up to get some injectors for this thing. They're telling me I gotta send them a copy of the registration with my name. It has to be in my name. I'm like, I don't own the car. They wouldn't even sell me this stuff for this thing. Like, what is this, a Ferrari? I don't know. Finally, we get some stuff for it. It's startup day. Phil got the injectors back in. The only question we have now is we had one of the fuel lines that split for the quick disconnect on the fuel filter. Feels like it may have a small kink in it, and it's a lined hose, almost like a PTFE AN line. It's very similar. And so we're gonna prime the fuel system, and if that leaks, unfortunately, we're gonna have to replace it. I mean, even Ford has been no help. We called, I don't know how many dealerships, the GT hotline, like Ford Performance, SVO, all this stuff. We got some good parts connections and stuff. Nobody could get us a part for this. Took so many hours of just calling around.
We even called Bosch too.
Yeah, Bosch was going to try to get me the injectors since they manufactured these injectors, and then it turned out that the request got denied. They were going to actually have to like retool the machines to make them and stuff, so it was a very low probability. But the guy was like, yeah, I'll put in the request, and they said no. To be expected, but it was nice that they were willing to ask. Should be throwing some fuel in it here in a minute. Still don't have any of the aero on underneath, because if we do have to pull the tank back out for some reason, there's no sense in having that on. So we're gonna fire it up, take it through a run cycle, make sure everything's good, clear the codes, probably do that one more time, make sure no codes come back, and then take it for a small drive. Again, make sure no codes returned. This thing was throwing an EGR valve code. We cannot get that EGR valve. It is for this vehicle. We've tried it. We've had to send a couple back. We're thinking that the EGR code is actually probably more to do with the injectors that were not performing right. It was probably similar to like a, you know, like you would get an O2 sensor code or a lean bank code or something like that on some of these vehicles. In reality, it's not the sensor.
Well, the
that's an
four
issue.
locked up ones were on bank too. Yeah.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's get to it and throw some fuel in it, turn this thing over, and hear it come to life, hopefully. This thing could have been out of here in 3 days, probably 4 days, if we could have got the parts. These are a very unique fuel injector for these, really unique bottom seat to them. It's not an O-ring, it's like a cone shape that functions as the lower O-ring. I don't know if they go to any other applications. I've never seen them anywhere else, but they're made by Bosch. They're about 42 pounds per hour, and this one has 16 of them. So you have a set of primaries and a set of secondaries. It detects a certain boost level or a throttle position sensor level and starts to fire the second injectors and bring those in. That way you get good clean emissions throughout. You get good mileage if you're just cruising. You're kind of just sipping fuel with 8 injectors, and then when you really stomp that throttle, it'll light up all 16. The fuel filter I ordered literally 3 times from OEM Ford parts sales companies and JEGS for the 4th one, because everybody said they had it in stock, and then within a day or two they'd either call me or send me an email and say, like, we can't get you that part, sorry, got to refund you. This is the billet fuel filter that we put on. So we just bought some 1/2-inch quick disconnect fittings that go to an A-8 AN, and we put one of our billet fuel filters in it with a shut-off valve on it. So you can shut the fuel off right there at the valve if you want. It's nice to have the shut-off valve when you're servicing the fuel system, because you can shut the fuel off at that ball valve and then cycle the ignition a few times and run the system dry. You don't have to worry about fuel spilling anywhere. If you're going to store this thing for a long time, you can run the system dry and hopefully not eat 8 of your fuel injectors like what happened to this customer. Still have fuel in the tank, but at least keep the top end easy stuff clean and dry. Put a little
Filled
Dr.
up.
Pepper Zero in there and give it a little boost. A little 0-calorie boost for the GT.
All right, help.
Yeah.
Help.
All right, I'll lift, you hold. You hold my hose.
Just make sure we don't have any leaks.
Yeah. All right, let me check. All right, underneath, nothing.
Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on this potential, this kink that it looks like here. It's hard to tell. It doesn't feel bad, but
All right, starting.
All right. Good over there?
Yeah.
Check that fuel rail. Check the fuel rail where the injectors meet the fuel rail.
Yeah. I don't see any. No leaks.
Okay. How's the gauge?
Showing just under quarter, which
Still going up?
showing
Perfect.
just under quarter, which would be
Yeah.
about right. We only put 5 gallons in it.
Any engine lights?
No.
No?
Nope.
Woo! There we go. There we go. No engine lights. Fuel gauge is working. You can't get a little supercharger on that one. Sounds good. Still no lights?
Nope. But before it was stuck at quarter. Now it's just under quarter,
Yeah.
and we only put 5 gallons in.
Well, it was reading 0 when it was empty, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, just to recap, for the last like 15 years, this guy's had an intermittent fuel gauge issue where he'd get a check engine light, the fuel gauge would not work, be down at 0, or the fuel gauge light would just come on randomly. The low fuel light, light would come on randomly. He'd been trying to get it fixed a few times. The dealership plugged into it. You know, when you buy this car from a dealership, they send a tech to the school, the Ford GT school, to learn to work on it. And I don't know if he left or what. Basically, they had him under the impression they were gonna have to take the whole front end off of the car to fix the fuel tank or the fuel light issue. It was incorrect. So the solution was, because in order to remove the front, you have to drill out painted rivets. You would then have to have a paint job done in that area to get this thing back, and the customer really didn't want to go through and have this thing painted. He wants it all original as possible. He kind of just avoided it, and the solution that he was given was just put some of this, like, you know, fuel system additive in it, and that would kind of get it to work or make it better every now and then. Now we've got a gauge that worked, no check engine light. The check engine lights that were coming up were for the open circuit on the high side of the fuel system and the gauge. And that, if you go back to the other video, was because the fuel pumps and the gauge, or the sensor fuel level sender, share a ground, and they were extremely corroded. Maybe that fuel system additive could kind of knock the corrosion down a little bit. Now it's been gone through, everything's fully rewired in there, everything's been fully cleaned out. To be honest with you, getting the fuel tank in and out of this thing is
Such a major pain.
but this one involves brake lines, coolant lines, probably ends right here and goes out to where the fuel cap is, and it's the center console. It's a really big relief to feel like we're not going to have to pull it back out again. And if you remember, we had to go with aftermarket fuel pumps, and we had to find a fuel pressure regulator. It's this big, like a button. It's like a big button on your shirt.
Yep.
And all it is just a little diaphragm that's calibrated. Phil found out, he cross-referenced the part number and found an equivalent that came out of a Volkswagen, because at that time, Ford and, was it Volvo or Volkswagen?
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, yeah, they had a lot of overlap in their manufacturing. The engineers, when they designed this, in that particular instance, reused it. Now, in every other instance, the fuel filter, not the same as anything else, different diameter lines, different quick disconnect fittings, whatever it was. Injectors seem to be unique to this vehicle. If not, there may be a couple other ones out there. The fact that everything is working, major relief.
Yeah, seems to be working.
Take it out for a little ride. And just the first one, we're not going to put any of the skids or aero on underneath. We're just going to cycle it. We're going to do what's a drive cycle, because sometimes you have to put the vehicle in gear and actually drive it to trigger some of these check engine lights. Not go rip in it, because the insurance company is always watching.
Big Brother's watching.
Just take it out for a nice cruise, probably top off the fuel tank for him, and then call him up, tell him come pick it up.
Let me get some supercharger. Yeah. And then right here is where you hear the supercharger. Let me get one more. See how it comes out on the mic.
We'll see how that audio turns out.